Nobody expected Gucci Mane to say anything about this, but when he finally did, the entire internet froze. For months, whispers have been floating around linking Pooh Shiesty to robbery rumors that fans couldn't stop debating. Some called it a cap. Others said the streets already knew the truth. But one thing was clear: Gucci staying silent only made the rumors louder. Now imagine this. The man who launched Pooh Shiesty's career, the CEO of 1017, finally stepped up to address the chaos. No tweets, no sneak disses, just straight pressure. The moment Gucci Mane opened his mouth, fans realized this wasn't just another rumor. This was about loyalty, image, and the consequences that follow when street narratives collide with the music industry. Social media instantly exploded. Supporters claimed Gucci was protecting his artist. Critics said the response raised more questions than answers. And some fans noticed subtle details in Gucci's words that felt calculated. Was he clearing Pooh Shiesty's name? Or was he quietly distancing himself before things got even uglier? What makes this situation even crazier is the timing. Pooh Shiesty's name is already surrounded by legal drama, and one wrong move could permanently damage his legacy. Gucci Mane knows this. That's why every sentence, every pause, and every reaction matters. So the real question is, did Gucci Mane shut the rumors down? Or did he accidentally confirm what fans feared all along? Because after this response, one thing is certain: this story is far from over. After Gucci Mane's response hit the internet, fans didn't just react, they dissected every single word. This wasn't a casual comment or a throwaway response. To many people watching closely, Gucci sounded calm on the surface, but underneath that calm was a message layered with meaning. And that's where things got complicated. For those who followed Gucci Mane's career, silence has always been a strategy. He doesn't jump into controversy unless he has to. So when he finally addressed the Pooh Shiesty robbery rumors, the timing alone raised eyebrows. Why now? Why after months of speculation? And why with such carefully chosen language? Gucci didn't outright deny everything. He didn't fully confirm anything either. Instead, he spoke about growth, responsibility, and how narratives can spiral out of control when the internet runs faster than the truth. To casual listeners, it sounded like damage control. But to hardcore fans, it felt like a chess move, one designed to protect the brand of 1017 while keeping distance from anything that could backfire legally or publicly. And that's where Pooh Shiesty's name becomes unavoidable. Pooh Shiesty has always carried a raw, street-heavy image. His music, his energy, and his presence never pretended to be polished or industry-friendly. That authenticity is what made him blow up so fast. But it's also what made him a lightning rod for controversy. From the moment robbery rumors began circulating, fans were split. Some argued it matched the image he portrayed in his music. Others insisted that rumors don't equal facts, especially when legal cases are involved. Gucci Mane knows this better than anyone. He's lived through the era where street reputation could both build and destroy a career overnight. So when he spoke, many felt he was trying to walk a tightrope, acknowledging the reality of public perception without feeding into accusations that could haunt Pooh Shiesty long-term. What made the situation even more intense was how social media reacted in real time. Clips of Gucci's comments were chopped, reposted, and reinterpreted within minutes. One sentence became 10 different narratives. One pause became a tell. Fans started comparing this response to how Gucci had defended artists in the past. Some noticed that this time, his tone was different, more distant, more measured. That difference sparked a new theory. Was Gucci Mane slowly preparing the audience for separation? In the past, Gucci has publicly stood 10 toes down for his artists, especially when he believed they were being unfairly targeted. But this time, his message felt broader, almost philosophical. He spoke about how success changes lives, how money attracts problems, and how young artists must understand the weight of their actions. To some listeners, that sounded less like defense and more like a warning. Meanwhile, Pooh Shiesty remained silent. That silence only fueled speculation. Fans began asking why Pooh wasn't addressing the rumors himself. Was he advised not to speak? Was there something happening behind the scenes? Or was Gucci speaking for him to avoid making things worse? Industry insiders know that when legal situations are involved, silence is often strategic. Anything said publicly can be twisted, used, or misinterpreted. Gucci's experience in that world gives him an advantage. He knows exactly how dangerous loose words can be. That's why many believe his response wasn't just about the rumors, but about controlling the narrative before it spiraled completely out of control. But here's where things get even more interesting. Some fans noticed that Gucci never mentioned specific details of the robbery rumors. He didn't reference dates, locations, or accusations. Instead, he kept everything general. That choice felt intentional. By staying vague, he avoided validating the rumors while still acknowledging that the conversation exists. It was a classic industry move: address the noise without amplifying it. Still, not everyone was convinced. Critics argued that Gucci's refusal to directly shut down the rumors spoke louder than words. They claimed that if everything was false, a clear denial would have ended the discussion instantly. Others pushed back, saying that legal realities don't work that way, especially when an artist is already facing serious scrutiny. As the debate grew, one thing became clear: this wasn't just about a robbery rumor anymore. It was about trust, image, and how much responsibility a mentor has when their artist becomes a liability. Gucci Mane has spent years rebuilding his public image, from legal battles to personal transformation. The last thing he wants is to be pulled back into chaos by association. That context makes his response feel less shocking and more calculated. He wasn't just speaking as a rapper. He was speaking as a businessman protecting an empire. At the same time, fans couldn't ignore the emotional layer. Gucci helped bring Pooh Shiesty into the spotlight. Their connection isn't just professional, it's symbolic. So when Gucci speaks cautiously, people read it as disappointment, concern, or even quiet frustration. And yet, there's another angle many people missed. Gucci's response may have been less about distancing himself and more about giving Pooh Shiesty space to handle things properly. By not escalating the situation, Gucci may have been trying to keep doors open rather than slam them shut. In the music industry, perception is everything, and one reckless statement can permanently close opportunities. As discussions continued, fans started asking a bigger question. Is this the beginning of a turning point for Pooh Shiesty's career? Or is it just another chapter in a story that's been misunderstood from the start? One thing is certain: Gucci Mane's words didn't end the conversation. They transformed it. And as pressure continues to build, all eyes are now on what happens next, because the silence, the timing, and the careful wording suggest that this story is far from finished. As the conversation kept evolving, fans began to realize that Gucci Mane's response wasn't meant to provide closure, it was meant to control damage. And in the hip-hop world, damage control often says more than a loud denial ever could. The silence afterward, both from Gucci and Pooh Shiesty, only deepened that feeling. Behind the scenes, the industry understands one harsh truth: when an artist's name gets tied to serious allegations, labels don't move emotionally, they move strategically. Gucci Mane isn't just an artist anymore. He's an executive who's seen careers rise and collapse based on a single narrative. That experience shaped the way he handled this moment. What fans also started to notice was how media outlets framed the situation after Gucci spoke. Headlines shifted. Instead of focusing solely on the robbery rumors, discussions turned toward responsibility, mentorship, and accountability. That shift didn't happen by accident. Gucci's words redirected the spotlight without directly addressing the accusations, a classic repositioning move. Still, the pressure around Pooh Shiesty didn't ease. Online, fans debated whether Pooh's music now felt different in light of the rumors. Some said the lyrics hit harder. Others said they sounded uncomfortable knowing the context. That's the dangerous part of controversy. Once doubt enters the listener's mind, every bar gets reinterpreted. And that's exactly what Gucci was likely trying to prevent from spiraling further. Another layer that complicated everything was Gucci Mane's own past. Critics were quick to bring it up. They argued that Gucci, of all people, should understand how rumors and legal issues can derail someone before the full story is known. Supporters fired back, saying that's precisely why Gucci handled the situation so carefully. He knows firsthand that speaking recklessly can do irreversible damage. But then came the comparisons. Fans began lining up this situation with previous moments where Gucci publicly defended artists signed to 1017. In some cases, he was aggressive. In others, he was dismissive. This response didn't match either pattern. It felt restrained, almost cautious to the point of emotional distance. That difference reignited speculation that something more serious might be happening privately. Industry insiders often say that when statements become vague, it's because lawyers are involved. Whether true or not, that belief shaped how fans interpreted every word. Gucci's refusal to dive into details made people wonder if the truth was simply too complicated or too risky to explain publicly. Meanwhile, Pooh Shiesty's absence from the conversation remained the loudest statement of all. Some fans argued that silence was smart. Others believed it was damaging. In the modern era, where artists are expected to address controversies immediately, silence can feel like avoidance. But historically, silence has also been used as protection, especially when the stakes are high. What complicated things even more was the timing in Pooh Shiesty's career. He wasn't a struggling artist anymore. He had momentum, recognition, and expectations. That meant the margin for error was razor-thin. Gucci Mane understood that one wrong headline could permanently freeze that momentum. That's why many believe Gucci wasn't just responding to rumors, he was sending a message to Pooh Shiesty himself. A reminder that success doesn't shield you from consequences, and that every move carries weight once the spotlight is on. Fans started asking uncomfortable questions. Was Gucci disappointed? Was he frustrated? Or was he simply tired of seeing young talent risk everything? The truth is, Gucci's tone suggested concern more than anger. Concern for the future. Concern for the brand. And concern for an artist whose career could be defined by controversy instead of music. At the same time, skeptics argued that concern wasn't enough. They wanted clarity. They wanted answers. And Gucci didn't give them that. Instead, he offered perspective, and in doing so, he forced fans to sit with uncertainty. That uncertainty became the story. Comment sections turned into battlegrounds. Some defended Pooh Shiesty fiercely, claiming the rumors were exaggerated and weaponized. Others believed the signs were too obvious to ignore. Neutral listeners just wanted the truth, whatever it might be. But the hip-hop industry rarely delivers clean endings. What makes this situation especially tense is that Gucci Mane's response may have been the last public comment we hear for a while. If legal matters are involved, silence could stretch on indefinitely. And the longer that silence lasts, the more narratives fill the void. That's the risk Gucci accepted when he chose restraint over confrontation. Still, one thing can't be denied: Gucci Mane didn't abandon Pooh Shiesty publicly. He didn't condemn him. He didn't disown him. Instead, he placed the situation in a larger conversation about growth, responsibility, and consequences. Whether fans agree with that approach or not, it reflects a calculated attempt to protect what can still be protected. As of now, the story sits in limbo. No confirmations. No denials. Just speculation, interpretation, and waiting. And in hip-hop, waiting can be just as powerful as speaking. Because when the truth finally surfaces, whether through courtrooms, interviews, or music, Gucci Mane's carefully chosen words will be replayed, reanalyzed, and reinterpreted all over again. The only real question left is this: was Gucci Mane preparing fans for the truth, or buying time before the next chapter unfolds? Either way, the silence after his response may end up being louder than anything he said. As the silence stretched on, the reality of the situation became impossible to ignore. This wasn't just a momentary controversy that would fade with the next viral headline. Whatever Gucci Mane said, and just as importantly, whatever he didn't say, had already reshaped how fans viewed Pooh Shiesty's future. In hip-hop, perception often becomes reality long before facts do. Gucci Mane's response now sits in a strange space. It wasn't a denial strong enough to shut rumors down, and it wasn't an admission that confirmed them either. Instead, it functioned like a pause button, freezing the narrative just enough to stop it from spiraling completely out of control. And that pause may have been intentional. At this stage, many fans started to realize that Gucci wasn't speaking to the public alone. He was speaking to multiple audiences at once: the fans, the industry, the media, and perhaps even Pooh Shiesty himself. Each group heard something different in his words. Fans heard caution. The industry heard risk management. And critics heard uncertainty. That's the danger of carefully crafted statements. They invite interpretation. As weeks passed, discussions around Pooh Shiesty shifted again. Instead of focusing purely on the robbery rumors, people began questioning his long-term trajectory. Would labels continue to invest heavily? Would collaborators hesitate? Would radio support cool off quietly without explanation? These are the invisible consequences that rarely get discussed publicly, but often shape careers behind closed doors. Gucci Mane knows this world better than most. He's seen artists get shelved without announcements. He's seen opportunities disappear without warning. And he's seen how quickly the industry distances itself when controversy outweighs profit. That knowledge makes his response feel less emotional and more surgical. He wasn't trying to win an argument, he was trying to limit fallout. At the same time, fans couldn't shake the feeling that something had fundamentally changed. Before the rumors, Pooh Shiesty was viewed as unstoppable, a raw voice with momentum on his side. After Gucci's response, that momentum felt fragile. Not gone, but vulnerable. And in hip-hop, vulnerability without transparency invites speculation. Some fans held on to hope that the silence meant everything was being handled properly behind the scenes. Others believed the lack of clarity signaled deeper trouble. Both sides agreed on one thing: Gucci Mane's words were the last line of defense before the narrative slipped completely out of his control. What's rarely acknowledged is how heavy that responsibility is. Gucci isn't just protecting an artist, he's protecting a legacy. His label, his reputation, and his evolution from street icon to industry executive all hang in the balance. One careless move could undo years of progress. That context explains why his response felt restrained, even cold to some listeners. But restraint doesn't erase reality. The longer Pooh Shiesty remains silent, the louder the questions become. Fans want reassurance. Critics want accountability. And the industry wants stability. Unfortunately, silence satisfies none of those completely. It only delays the inevitable moment when the truth has to surface in some form. And when it does, everything will be revisited. Gucci's words will be replayed. His tone will be analyzed again. His pauses will be reinterpreted. If the rumors turn out to be exaggerated or false, his restraint will be praised as wisdom. If the truth confirms fans' worst fears, that same restraint will be viewed as preparation, not protection. That's the gamble Gucci Mane took. In the end, this situation highlights a harsh truth about modern hip-hop: success magnifies consequences. Artists who rise fast are expected to mature even faster. Mistakes that once stayed local now echo globally. And mentors like Gucci Mane are forced to balance loyalty with survival. As of now, there are no final answers, only signals. A carefully worded response. A noticeable silence. A career at a crossroads. Whether Pooh Shiesty emerges stronger, fades quietly, or redefines his path entirely will depend on what happens next, not just legally, but narratively. Because in hip-hop, the story people believe often matters as much as the facts themselves. One thing is undeniable, though. Gucci Mane didn't speak just to speak. Every word was chosen for a reason. And until the full truth comes out, fans will continue reading between the lines, searching for meaning in the silence. So the real ending to this story hasn't arrived yet. It's waiting in courtrooms, in contracts, or maybe in music. And when it finally does arrive, the question won't be what Gucci Mane said. It'll be whether he already told us everything we needed to know. Now it's your turn. After everything you've heard, the silence, the careful wording, and the questions that still don't have answers, what do you think Gucci Mane was really doing? Was he protecting Pooh Shiesty, protecting the brand, or preparing fans for a truth that hasn't fully surfaced yet? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this conversation isn't one-sided. Hip-hop has always been built on debate, perspective, and reading between the lines. Every fan sees this situation differently, and that's what makes it powerful. If you caught something in Gucci's response that others missed, say it. If you think the rumors are being blown out of proportion, explain why. And if you believe this is a turning point in Pooh Shiesty's career, don't hold back. Make sure you like this video if you want more real breakdowns like this. No clickbait, no sugarcoating, just the full picture. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications because this story is still unfolding, and when new details drop, you'll want to be here first. Most importantly, share this video with anyone who's been debating this situation. The more voices in the room, the clearer the conversation becomes. Hip-hop history is written in moments like this, not just by artists, but by the fans who keep the culture honest. Stay locked in. This isn't the end of the story, it's just the calm before the next reveal.